Good morning. Maybe. We'll see. This is an early live stream, and this is when we're going to start to do them. Global events, Iran, political issues, how things evolve, what's going on, how are things where you are, how have they changed where you're going, how have they changed what's going on. Have they changed your perception? Have they done anything whatsoever? Does it really matter? When it comes to retirement, many of you may not even be retired at this point. Many of you may still be in the planning phase. Um, you know, we just don't know. But what is it that's causing things to make changes in life? What is it that's making you have second thoughts about it? And what is it that's actually concerning you? These are important things, I think. Um, I think that we need to look at that. I think there's a lot of global issues here that play into your future, my future, everybody's future. Certainly we've made some changes, nothing drastic or major or anything like that, but we've certainly made some changes. Um, my daughter's made some changes, Arlene has made some changes, um, all of the things that go along with that. Um, Pablo, let me adjust a few things here. There we go. Good morning, Pablo. Nice to see you. Thank you for dropping in. Slick Rick, good morning, Rick. How are things in San Francisco? Thanks for dropping by. Heath McDaniel from Southeast Tennessee. How's things going, Heath? How are you doing? How's Tennessee? I bet the weather out there is pretty nice right now. East Tennessee ought to be in that certain phase transitioning from spring to summer. It's a beautiful area. Pablo saying hello to Rick. Rick saying hello to Pablo. Yeah, it's been a while. So, anyways, what happens? And yeah, we don't expect this to be a large live stream. We're readjusting everything, trying to make the timing all work for our schedule. We stay relatively busy. Chicken choker? Oh my God, chicken choker, how are you? Modern empires have greeted the mass. The world can only bother you if you're weak. Cocaine and cowboys. How you doing, chicken choker? It's good to see you. Thanks for dropping in. That's for sure. Yeah, he says it's 75 degrees and all the windows are open. Nice. Nice. You know, I spent a lot of time in North Carolina and visited as I was growing up and visited Tennessee several times. Just beautiful area. Beautiful area. I love the South. I really and truly do. Even though I spent most of my career, my lifetime, my working career in Arizona, the South is uh, still the way it is. Pablo says, I've been watching Heidi and George, so I read you often. They blocked me last year. Yeah, Heidi and George tend to block. I think I've been blocked on their channel over the years, probably 3 or 4 times I've been banned. It happens. YouTubers be YouTubers. Heidi has a very aggressive nature. And you know, Shit happens, Pablo. I wouldn't feel, although you are special, don't consider it a special event. Antics is just like that. That's the way it works, and um, it happens. That's funny though. Joe Pa, how you doing, Joe Pa? I haven't seen you in a while. Driving through a dust storm with tumbleweeds. Yeah, I remember those in Arizona. I remember the dust storms. We got them every year. We would get them, and they would be what they are. But how are things in the U.S. or wherever it is any of you are? You know, do you think that the global events are impacting you? Do you think they're having an impact on your life? Have they changed your plans? Have they? Um, does it matter? Do you think it really matters? Do you think the impact is as much as they say? Chicken Choker, OPJ, hello, brother. How's life? Life is good. Life is good, but we have been busy. It dawned on me when I did a video a while back, not the video I did yesterday that is done miserably. Nobody cares about mental health, apparently. But I left out one of the biggest reasons we haven't been around. One of the biggest reasons we've been so busy. And one of the issues, and I'll just very briefly say it because I'm done now with it, is that I got involved with a venture in the US that took up my time. And that's really about all I'm going to say. It was like a business venture is the best word for it. And it just took up a lot of my time, far more than I thought it would. That's for sure. Philippines traveler Heidi is a reminder why us American guys don't date American women. Laughing my ass off. Heidi and George or Heidi and George. I don't. I would say that when it comes to YouTube channels, you have informative channels, you have data-driven channels, and then you have entertainment channels. And theirs is really more entertainment than anything. Whether it's good entertainment or another, that's in the eyes of the beholder. Whether you agree with them or don't agree with them is no different than whether you agree with me or disagree with me. It doesn't matter. They are the way they are. I don't think Heidi is a good representation of American women, personally. I've never encountered that type of a situation. That's for sure. But you know what? You never know. Brooks Rick, how you doing, Rick? What's going on? Nice to see you. How are things going? Paul Rogers, what a bonus to see Paul this morning. Hi, Mike. What a pleasant surprise. Clicked on YouTube, and there you were. Let the show begin. Know that you've been missed, Chief. Tally ho. Hey, Paul. How's your health doing? How's things going? I hope it's all been well. In fact, I hope it's all going well for all of you. All right? Whether you're commenting, whether you're a troll, whether you're actively engaged in the conversation, it doesn't matter. We really value the interaction that we get with our subscribers and our viewers. We have a lot of viewers that actually aren't subscribers. So, we would urge you to subscribe, but we know it's a personal choice. And for some people, they just don't want to. And I fully understand that. But we hope all of you are doing well. So what a pleasant surprise. Good to see you, Paul. Gas prices are up, Chicken Choker says, so nobody out fishing. Life has perks. There you go. Yeah, you don't want them in your favorite fishing hole, do you? I don't blame you. I really don't blame you. Um, you know, it is unique to watch. A couple of different things that I would say. I saw this morning that United has announced a 20% surcharge or 20% increase in flight cost because of fuel surcharges. But at the same time, most of the fuel, the vast majority of the fuel that the U.S. gets is, quite frankly, from the U.S. So the Middle East issue doesn't have that big an impact or shouldn't have that big an impact, other than perhaps the oil companies are going to have a shortage of domestically available fuel because they're selling to the international buyers. International airfare is definitely up. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And that's because a lot of them use that. So that's one thing to think about. The cost here, it's gone up. The cost of rice has gone up. The cost of vegetables have gone up. But I mean, these are things that happen. If you don't prepare, you should prepare in your retirement or factor in to your retirement inflation. You should factor in a lot of different things, but inflation being one of them. And if we look at this from a inflation point of view, if instead of saying the price of stuff is up because getting the commodities is up, well, to me, that's pretty much in the same category. Joe Paul says, not one bit. Doesn't bother him. None of it. Gas is $3.39 at Costco, more than it was, less than it's been. Yeah, you know what? Gas is up here because the Philippines imports all its fuel. But we expect it. And honestly, the greed of companies it'll be hard to see fuel prices go back down to where they were, because once they go up, if I raise the price of my fuel by 20 cents, but now it's back to where it was, everybody will be happy if I cut that price by 10 cents. That's the thinking that they have. So it's going to be where it was. Who knows? There's a lot of stuff at Costco I miss. I wish we had a Costco. I really do. We have S&R, similar. We have Landers, similar, but it's just not Costco. Mike, you had said in your last video that you spoke Spanish, but what's considered Mexican Spanish? I do look forward one day and I can converse in that Spanish. You know what? I say that because there's always been an argument that speaking Mexican is not speaking Spanish. I never took Spanish lessons. In Arizona, there's a lot of Mexican nationals, transplants, everything else. I had patients that were that as well. I'm conversational in that, but is it true Spanish? Apparently not. So, Bobby Gill, Heidi is a scamming meth head. Your last video described her to the T. You know what, Bobby? Here's the deal. Clinically, whether she's scamming or not is not up to me to figure out. It's something that, because I'm relatively well versed in medicine, I'm not a lupus expert. I'm not an immunologist. I'm not a rheumatologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I can't make those kind of calls without it having a distinct, clear view. But what I can say is this: if you have a echo of the heart and your ejection fraction is under 35, you are clinically in chronic heart failure, CHF. Now, do I agree with the methodology that they're going with? Do I agree with how they're going about it? Would I do it that way? No, I wouldn't, and I don't. All right. And do I agree even with what they rely or relay as the conversations they have with their physicians? I'm somewhat disjointed with that. I mean, let's be very, very honest here. In the United States, for a cardiothoracic surgeon or a cardiologist to tell you that you need a bypass before you get a cardiac catheterization would be pretty close to malpractice. All right. Is it a possibility? Yes. But you don't know that until you see. You're going to have an exam. It's going to be a fluoroscopic exam in a specifically designed room with specific equipment. All right. They're going to insert a catheter into your artery. They're going to snake that up into your heart. Then they're going to, in turn, select each one of the major coronary arteries and inject dye. And that's the only surefire. That is the gold standard and has been the gold standard for many, many years. And there's no other way around it. I mean, we can do coronary cardiac CT scan, and it's very good, but it's not what they do. And quite frankly, they don't do that here. You know what? They do it here, all right? But there are no level. Let me rephrase that also. There are very few level 2 coronary cardiac cath readers. It is the cardiac catheterization is just better, still better. So, as to her past, it is what it is. Hopefully your venture pays off. Oh, it did. It did, Bobby. Thank you so much. It did. It was more effort than I thought it was, but it did. Joe Paul says, this is a perfect way of saying it. I don't date, Joe Paul says, I date American women. I don't date Heidi's. Have named a dog Heidi. Well, I don't know. I've never had a dog named Heidi, but I've loved my dogs, everyone that I had. But either way, but Joe Paul makes a really solid statement here. All right. It is simple. It is, you have choices. You absolutely have choices as to who you date. You don't have to date a specific type of person. You would date who you want. Period. Philippines traveler, poor George finding out. I don't know. 20% that will never come back off. Yeah, Heath's absolutely correct. The price of fuel will come down, but the price of the flights only marginally. They're going to make money. Businesses are in business to make money. But how does that impact you? Does that mean you change your future plans, your current plans? Is your retirement looking as positive as it was, say, 10 years ago? Do you have a totally different outlook on your retirement today than you had 10 years ago? Have you made changes because of that? I mean, I look at the amount of social unrest. I look at the other things. I mean, United being one thing. I don't know whether any of you noticed, but the United Postal Service, okay? Um, not UPS, but the post office, all right? They are skipping, I think it's for 2 months, last month and this month, their contribution to the government pension plan. All right. Now, the United States Postal Service, their postal plan is part of a government, their retirement is part of a broader governmental one, and then they have to pay their share. They're not making their deposit. Now, they say they will, and they say they're going to catch it up, but they're losing money. Is that going to have an impact? I mean, are we going to see other government agencies not able to fulfill their requirements? Are we, we've already seen companies that cannot and will not be able to recover from their retirement obligations, the obligations they have. We've seen unions readjust how much they're being paid. We've seen different retirement. I mean, it just never ends. Philippines Traveler, that's why he's hardly ever there. Can you imagine that sofa smell? Okay, Bobby. Joe Pa, golf balls, cat food, bread, and milk are all the same price. Really? Well, there you go. So the government is that doing the best it can to maintain that? I wonder. It's finally under $4 a gallon in Pennsylvania. Wow. I wish it was that here. It's a little bit more. Oh, wow. 22 minutes in, and we first got our first thumbs down. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. We certainly appreciate it. Every thumbs down, thumbs up, every comment helps drive the algorithm, so they say. Although I have absolutely no faith in what YouTube says about its algorithm or what YouTubers say about the algorithm. Philippines Traveler, no matter what strip club prices, never change. I don't know. I don't know. If the cost of beer goes up or alcohol goes up, don't they have to go up? I don't know. Maybe it's something that you should look deeply into and let us know, Philippines Traveler. Oh, 2 thumbs down. So that's even better now. Thank you. Paul Rogers, all's good in here in Duncan, South Carolina. Excellent at being fat, dumb, and happy. Wife and I are planning on adopting a second pup. One ain't enough to get the job done. There you go, Paul. Living your best life, living your life and enjoying your life. These are important things. And who's to tell you how to live your life? Who's to tell you what retirement is? What are the mandatory minimums for a happy retirement? Who is there to do that? Okay. I think only people that can turn around and enjoy themselves are what that isn't that the key, that you're happy? That would be the real key. Slick Rick, Mike, with that Spanish, you can speak with anyone who speaks with little to no problem at all. If anything, the Spanish that's spoken in Mexico can be considered a dialect. Yeah, I think so also. But it's funny, in Arizona, when you say you speak Spanish, nah, not really. They argue about that for some reason. I got no idea. Pablo, I probably would have donated with Heidi and George if I was not blocked. As a matter of fact, I tried by Super Chat, was not allowed. Yeah, I donated. I'm not embarrassed or ashamed to say that I donated. I donated to their Go Get Me funding. Um, and I donated it because, I'll be honest with you. Heidi and George are human beings. And if they are facing struggling times, well, why not? Why not? I have the money to do it. Why not? If it's not a realistic outlook, well, so be it. $100 is just mice nuts. It's really not worth it to worry about it. I'm paying anywhere from $6.15 to $6.40. Yeah, San Francisco, you're in an expensive area, Rick. I mean, San Francisco's always been an expensive area. I used to remember, couple of my favorite restaurants are in San Francisco. I used to love to go to a place called the Cliff House, watch the fog roll in, have dinner. Ex-wife number 2 and I would be. I used to love to go get the calamari at Neptune's down at the wharf. It was good. I used to enjoy San Francisco. My daughter and I used to go to San Francisco for daddy-daughter weekends. Union Square and all that. Chicken choker, 4 trade, 2 kilos salt, and 9 cheetah teeth for 7 kilos of lead ingot recipient pays postage. Okay. 7 kilos of lead ingot. I'm not sure about that one. Chicken choker, Pablo, donate me $14. I need smokes. There you go. We're going to support now. We're going to be supporting Chicken Choker's cigarette habit, which I can't speak. I can't. It's terrible, but I can't say anything because I still can't kick them. I've done well. I've cut way back, but I still can't kick them. Hopefully this year. Joe Paul, if you don't have 5 to 6 friends or family in the USA who won't get together to buy you a one-way ticket for medical treatment, you lead a shitty life. Well, you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your friends. That's probably where it comes down to. And I again, Joe, my outlook on Heidi's situation is very simple. She qualifies for Medicaid. She'll qualify for every program that's out there and more. She should be in the U.S. Period. End of story. She'll get access to better care. She'll get it faster. And that's just the way it is. I do understand that she doesn't want to go. I do understand that she, has limited support systems. But that, when you're talking about your health, it is what it is. Everyone, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell. Thank you, Rick. Certainly appreciate it. Big Dave, top of the morning to you and Arlen there. Doc, good to see you back doing the live stream. Been way too long, damn it. Yeah, it's been a while. Again, we were super, super busy. Things have calmed down. And again, the first quarter of every year is very busy for us. We have a lot going on. When you're maintaining multiple households, when you have lives, I guess is the best word to describe it, in both the U.S. and, in multiple countries, it's busy. The first quarter of the year is busy, not to mention plus my daughter. I mean, I think people need to understand, I got some shit from my best British troll, my Australian goober, John, asking me why, saying, why am I taking care of my 23-year-old daughter? Isn't she old enough to take care of herself? No, she's not. She'll never, as long as I'm alive, she'll never be too old to take care of herself, number one, all right, or old enough. But my daughter's a full-time student, all right? A full-time student in a very, very difficult career path. Becoming a doctor or a vet or a lawyer, these are things that require intensive amounts of time and effort. Yeah, I support her and I will continue. So, yes, they also use bioplast to clean the sludge. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that can be done. I mean, you can do balloon angiography. You can, other than stents. I mean, you can do certain. There are all kinds of things that can be done. Sub-D Web. Pablo says I was the first to get. Chicken choker. Dang it, OBJ. You said USPS, the $18 billion welfare program. Welcome to port control. They've lost, I can't remember anybody ever announcing that the United States Postal Service made money, was profitable, or broke even. Even with the 15 pounds of junk mail that the mailman would shove in my mailbox every week, they still couldn't make money. It's ridiculous. I think it's an incredibly stupid situation. USPS messed up. Bobby says USPS messed up at the breaks that are given to Amazon, especially now that most of the U.S. mail is now just junk mail. Most things important are sent by email. Yeah, I mean, it's a dying thing. It really and truly is. And perhaps, maybe Americans should get used to the fact that you're only going to get mail, handwritten mail, 3 days a week. And everything else should be coming to you electronically. Isn't that the future 20 years ago? Joe Pa, who gives a thumbs down? I thumbs up and subscribed, and now I'm going to super chat just out of spite. Well, thank you, Joe Pa. Thank you. I don't know. It doesn't tell us who gives us the thumbs down. It really and truly doesn't. The only people locally that we know of, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It really and truly does not. All right? 2 thumbs down must be Heidi and George. I don't know. I have no idea. Doesn't matter. Oh my gosh. What is this? Super chat from Joe Pa. Everybody give a super chat a spite. Well, thank you, Joe Pa. Thank you so much for your supporting the channel. Your super chat will obviously go to help pay the internet bill. That's for sure. Thank you, Joe Pa. Slick Ricardo, when you comment on George and Heidi's live stream, I replied to you, but you don't answer. That's because George and Heidi blocked me. Yeah, it's possible. Anything is possible. All right? It happens. Like I said, even I've been banned on their channel 4 times over the years. And it's never a malicious issue. It's always the petty YouTube wars. It's always that battle over likes and chats and subscribers and the numbers and egos. That's really what it comes down to. Shit we don't really care about at all. Oh my God, another super chat. Pablo, Wow. Huge super chat. Thank you so much. Thank you. Wow, Pablo. Been missing you. He says last time he looked last week, gas been holding at $3.59 a gallon. Muchas. $3.59 a gallon. That's not bad. Joe Pond, San Francisco Original Joe's and Swan Oyster Depot are a must eat. Yeah, they're very good. They absolutely are. Michael Atos, wow, building a place in the Philippines by remote is a challenge, but so far, quality of workmanship is spot on. Mike, it can be. It just depends on who you hire. And then wouldn't that be the same anywhere? I mean, realistically, building remote would be and present a lot of the same challenges everywhere. So, Mike, as soon as I seen them edit that short with you and the way they clipped it to change the context of what you said, I knew it was a scam. I have no control over what they did. I don't. I didn't bother to look at the short. I don't watch shorts. Quite frankly, I don't watch a lot of Angeles City YouTubers. I really don't. I watch, I check in with Ace. I check in with Chubbs. I check in with Ugly Tourist. I check in with McLovin nowadays that he's on. But I don't really, for us, it's just, well, everybody knows. Those of you that are core subscribers, core viewers know we don't do this for money. I mean, don't get me wrong. We wouldn't turn it down. It's not something that, goes to waste or anything like that. But we do it because I enjoy it. It keeps my mind busy. Arlene, she hates it. Arlene just absolutely hates the drama on YouTube. Joe Paul, 128 days. Wow, Joe. I envy you. I really do. Speaking of San Francisco, D-Web says, have you ever been to the Stinky Rose, dog? Great food, and you'll come out feeling like you bathed in a bathtub of garlic. No, it doesn't ring a bell with me, so I doubt it. Sorry, Dave. If I call you daddy, will you support me? I need help walking home from the Walking Street. They need to wheel you home, Michael. I think that they should have wheelchairs right beside the trikes down on Walking Street just to wheel home certain people. Joe Paul says, take it easy. I am super chatting with some of the UPS money. It is. Tim Deziak, how are you, Tim? Thanks for dropping in. Yeah, the USPS is the first U.S. company. They were around in 1775. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you say so, but I don't think they've had a profit, or even broke even in the last 50 years. That's for sure. Heidi is actually sick grandpa in drag. Sick grandpa. I get a big kick out of sick grandpa. I really do. All right. I'm not going to lie. All right. I'm not going to hide it. I like sick grandpa. I believe, first off, I know sick grandpa. We've met on multiple occasions. We've shared meals on multiple occasions. And I would say this, sick grandpa is like a professional troll. He's a hit it and forget it situation. He'll make a video. He'll hit you. He's hit me before. He's hit everybody. Okay. He is, he's entertainment. Now he's informative and he has his opinions, but he's entertainment. But here's the other part. For those of you that have never met him in person and had an off YouTube conversation with him. He's smart. He is actually a very smart guy. But I'm not sure, Bobby. I'm not sure if we can say he's the sick grandpa in drag. Tim, Bobby, is this true? I'm smoke free since July 3rd. I'm using Velo. Okay. Joe Paul says, I'm not nicotine freeze. There you go. Buenos dias, Senor Dardos. How are you, Dardos? ¿Cómo está, mi amigo? How have you been? How have you been? I used to nicotine patches, started at 8, then 4, now I'm down to 2, but I broke the mental addiction first, made it easier. Yep. Bobby says, I enjoy Sick Grandpa. Yeah, I enjoy Sick Grandpa. Now, Sick Grandpa and actually, no. Sick Grandpa did a live stream that I caught like the last 10 minutes of last night. I was late to join. I had some other stuff going on. Well, screw it. Arlen and I were watching a show on TV. I wasn't going to quit watching. Or I could have quit watching, but Arlen wasn't going to. And that means I would have to play back later date. And you know how that goes. And happy wife, happy life. So anyways, I missed like the first portion. I caught the last 10 minutes or so. And I noticed that Smooth Lee talked about Smooth Lee getting a copyright strike. And now I'm watching, for those of you that have seen it, and the petty issues. I mean, if somebody's going to make a AI video image of an AI image of me and use it in a derogatory, it's entertainment. It's entertainment. But on the other hand, I think Lee has a point of view. He is entitled under what do they call it? I can't remember. Fair something or another, to critique other people's stuff. So I'll be interested to see how that goes. USPS has issues with pre-funding retirements, is why they're in the red. Yeah. The problem with that, though, Michael, is they're not pre-funding shit. The government, they're sending money. The obligation to pay that retirement is a U.S. government obligation under the federal government retirement plan. USPS is only funding what they're responsible for, but the government is who sponsors it and who has to qualify it, and that's who's going to pay, whether USPS pays it or not, until they pull out of it. That's a mess. It really is a mess. Off to pet the cat, Chicken Choker says. Be safe. Take care, Chicken Choker. Joe Paw, try Velo. They cured the craving. I'm not nicotine free either. Michael says, Sick Grandpa is not my cup of tea. He's not a lot of people's cup of tea, but he is an interesting guy and he's entertainment. And whether you like it or not, people do watch him. People like his content. So therefore, he's getting his point across. And isn't that the purpose? I mean, you're either going to be putting out videos showing stuff, restaurants, hotels, waterfalls, water parks, whatever. You're going to be putting out data, all right? Or you're going to be putting out information, or you're going to be putting out entertainment. Those are your choices. His is all, excuse me, entertainment. My throat is very dry this morning. I should have gotten a little bit, I'm getting low on coffee. I should have gotten a little bit more water. That's what I should have done. Joe Paul says, I'm using ONS. Fair use. Yeah, Joe Paul, right. Fair use. So Smoothly has, and as long as he follows the fair use stuff, that's fine. And I don't know. I don't see a problem. I don't know. We'll see. I enjoy watching Sick Grandpa. I used to like watching Mike, MYK. Yeah. Again, everybody has their own thoughts about how all of that works. But right now, what is it, do you think, what's going to happen with Iran? Is Trump going to continue the blockade? Is that going to impact things in the West? Are we going to continue with NATO? Are we going to still dick around with Starmer and all his bullshit in the UK? Are we going to deal with Spain and their refusal? I mean, there's so much going on right now. If it were up to me, I would just empty Rota, Spain, all right, which is big naval base, or used to be at one time, all right. I would tell Spain to kiss my ass, personally. I really and truly would, all right. They can take care of their own shit, which they can't, all right. I would tell Macron, you know what? Either you pony up or you get out. It's funny how none of these NATO countries have made it to help with any of the blockades. I mean, whether you agree with Trump and how he's handling the situation, what you can't disagree with, I would argue it'd be difficult to disagree with the fact that Iran cannot have nuclear weapons. Nobody else should have. There are too many countries with nuclear weapons already. We should not be living under MAD, mutually assured destruction. We don't need that shit. And what we don't need is some religious zealots, all right, who their religion calls for the death of anybody that doesn't follow their religion, to be able to just nuke people out. We shouldn't. Me and my wife just met with a USPS retirement specialist. She needs 4 years for 40 years of service. I recommend everybody go to work for the government, or you know what? There's some great programs, Joe Paul. You can't argue with, their retirement programs are great. Absolutely phenomenal. Bobby says, yes, 100%. I was watching the other channel live and somebody posted about the assassination attempt last night. And on that channel said, don't say anything because my viewers will tune out. We don't care. We'll let you say, as long as you're not obnoxious, all right? As long as you're not putting out statements that provide misinformation that we think could do or have a negative impact on people, I believe that people should speak their piece. Pablo, Rick says watching Mike. He was entertaining, do his stuff. Pablo agrees. Joe Paul, these guys aren't very smart. YouTube will always issue the strike, but when you dispute it under fair use, you win. These guys just crumble on the strike. Yeah, a lot of them, honestly, Joe Paul, what happens, you probably know this, all right? But when you fight a strike, it gives your personal information to the person that filed that strike, okay? So now if your YouTube channel is in your full name, they now have your full name. And that's how they go around and start doxing you. And that is, a big deal. Who is Mike, MYK? Mike was a YouTuber based out of Florida. He was part Filipino. Lived. I think he was raised in the U.S. in the Philippines as a child for a number of years, and he had some very strong views. Michael Aitos, within the next week, Iran's oil storage tanks will be full and force shutting down oil rigs. This will destroy the fields they have cut the money. Yeah, this is a big deal, Michael. You are absolutely correct. Once you start pumping oil, you don't stop. And once you stop pumping, you face huge hurdles in trying to restart that well. And yes, what Trump has done is he said, yeah, good. You can pump all the oil you want, but you're not moving it by ship anywhere. And sooner or later, you're going to run out of storage. And that is exactly what's going on. No need to bomb their shit. No need to do anything. I mean, I honestly think that the Strait of Hormuz embargo is doing more harm than the bombing that Israel and the U.S. did to the IRGC. I really do. Joe Pa, he used to have a YouTube channel called Mike's Philippine Journey. Shut his channel down a couple years ago. Yep. D-Web, you're not nothing in the Philippines YouTube space unless sick grandpa's Fred Flintstone looking has his crosshairs on you. Yeah, like I said, currently, Sig Grandpa is currently right here in Angeles City, right here in the same, staying in an Airbnb in the same building, condo tower that we live in. All right. He's a couple floors below me. So, Joe Paul, yeah, that's true about the doxing. Yeah, that's a big deal. Some of these guys will strike you just so you can fight the strike. All right. So they can get your personal information. And it's not so much, sometimes we sit there and we say it's not so much the personal information as then they go after your children, your family. Once, for $49, you can get all kinds of information on people in the U.S. And that includes their relatives. And at that point, you have to be careful. Closing the strait hit everyone directly in their wallet. It certainly has. I don't think anybody's been immune, Obi-Wan. I don't think anyone has been immune at all. I think that in some way, shape, or form, everybody has been hit. I think in some way, shape, or form, they'll continue to be hit. And I think in some way, shape, or form, honestly, it's going to take a while to recover. I mean, we're nowhere near the end of this Middle East situation. Nowhere near. The Iranians, unless they rise up, unless the public rises up and does regime change, they're never going to agree to give up nuclear uranium enrichment. I mean, you think about it like this. To run a standard nuclear reactor, uranium only has to be enriched to the 2 to 3% enrichment percent level. That's it. All right. For certain research reactors, you may see enrichment up to into the 40 to 50% enrichment level. Anything over that is a path to a nuclear weapon. There's just no commercial viable way to do it, reason to do it. So the Iranians can never be allowed to have nuclear weapons. It's gone on too long. We've allowed it to go on too long. We should have never allowed the North Koreans to get nuclear weapons. You know, trying to be nice just doesn't work anymore. Okay? And you obviously can't trust them. Let's see here. Bobby Gill, as soon as that well gets shut in due to no place to store the oil, the sand that is used in the fracking process will plug the well. Yeah, I don't know the particulars, Bobby. Apparently you do. I don't know the specifics as to how difficult or what the problems are that come up with that. I really don't. But I do know that all the experts that are out there have said it is a big problem. It is a huge problem. And, you know, the next thing that could happen is if the IDF, if Israel and America sit there and say, okay, you know what? We'll lift the Strait of Hormuz, but we'll just bomb the living shit out of your road system so you can't move or transport anything from the wells to the storage, from the pump to the storage. I mean, you know, they are literally being held hostage by the thing that makes them millionaires. Bobby, wow, yeah. Paul Rogers, big thumbs up. We need to pull out of NATO yesterday regarding nukes in Iran. Double thumbs up. Iran's regime is in danger for the world. Best to shut down the nukes. Yeah, Paul, absolutely. We need to stay in NATO or find a way to maintain a military presence in Europe. I think that's necessary just for reaction time, okay? But that may be changing too in the future. However, with all of those things said, what we do need is a regime change in Iran, without a doubt. We definitely, desperately need regime change. We need the Iranian people to stand up and revolt and get rid of these mullahs. And what's interesting right now is even the mullahs, all right, are no longer in charge of Iran. The IRGC general, I think his name is Abidad or whatever, he's the one that's really calling the shots. It's the military function, not the, because you have to remember, you've got Iranian army, and then you've got the Iranian IRGC, the Iranian Republic Guard, whatever they're called. All right. It's the IRGC that's calling the shots. They've had a lot of defectors and all kinds of problems. All kinds of problems. You know, they have taken the religious part out, but it was the religious part, all right, that has really made a difference. So get these zealots out of here. And you know what? I mean, if you think about it, the Crusaders were the same way. Christianity's had this issue in the past too. I'm not just picking on Muslims, all right? I'm not. I mean, we had the crusade, we had the slaughter of thousands, tens of thousands, whatever. But the point here is the Crusaders, they were knives, swords, and spears. They weren't, and arrows. They weren't nuclear weapons. Okay? These people cannot be allowed to have nuclear weaponry. All right? Even if they don't have the ballistic missile technology to get it to the U.S., they can theoretically already threaten part of uh, uh, the EU, and they can threaten. Actually, they supposedly can get to um, the UK. So I'm just not sure. Um, let's see here. Wow, my viewership just dropped pretty hard. Somebody else must be running a live stream 7 o'clock in the morning. I don't know, but it's big. All right. The Iranian people cannot fight without weapons. No, they can't. They can't. But I guarantee you this much. I firmly believe the CIA, Mossad, all right, everybody, there's weapons being shipped into Iran to the people. And if you looked at all of the military flights that have been going on in the past 10 days worth of ceasefire, how many weapons did they bring ready to parachute and drop in? I'm pretty sure that they use pipelines like they do here. I have many years in the oil and gas industry. Once that well is sanded off, you have to bring in what's called a coil unit or a service rig. Yeah, Bobby, you obviously know more about it than I did. That's for sure. So yeah, and I agree. They'll use pipelines to transport it, but you still gotta move workers, still gotta move things. But either way, I would just blow that shit up. Basically, re-drill the whole well. Asia Now just came on. Obi-Wan. That may be what it is. We lost about half of our viewers to Asia One. But it doesn't matter. But what impact? That's what I'm really interested in. Has anybody changed their retirement plans based on what's currently going on? That's what would be interesting to me. You know, have they actually changed it? I mean, our retirement plans have not changed whatsoever. Investment strategy has changed a little bit, okay? But that doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. You know, we are where we are, and we have what we have, and we're quite grateful and happy with it. That, you know, I mean, I'll give you for instance, here it is, it's Monday, 7 a.m., and I know I have stuff I've got to get done today because we're having a pool party this afternoon. We're still partying. We're still meeting friends. We still have social events. We still have, you know, we have a group of individuals. We're all getting together. All right. I think yesterday Arlen cooked. So what Arlen did, all right, so we'll have like two basic scenarios here. We'll have single girls that are friends of the girls. All right. We'll have partnered girls, wives, girlfriends, whatever. Then we'll have the guys, and we'll have a couple single guys, and then the partners, you know, husbands, boyfriends, etc. All right. And so what do we end up with? Well, we will end up with Filipino food, what they call pica pica. Pica pica is snack food, all right? Filipino snack food. So pica pica. Arlen cooked chicken feet yesterday. She cooked milkfish, fried milkfish, stuffed and everything else. She prepared food on the Filipino side for the girls, essentially, and some of the guys that will eat that stuff. The guys will just grab. We'll have pizza delivered, whatever. We'll have things delivered. Sometimes when we do these pool parties, we will barbecue. We'll not barbecue. We'll grill out burgers, dogs, chops, steaks, whatever. Okay. So, I mean, it hasn't changed ours. Michael, I will take a hit in my wallet to keep Iran from the Saboom thing. It's worth every dime. Yeah, there are sacrifices that people should be willing to make. Griffin, hello to everyone. Can someone give me the name of Heidi and George's channel? Thank you. If they haven't answered that, I will shortly. I haven't changed anything yet. I'm keeping my eye on prices, but that's about it. Yeah. So Obi-Wan, I don't think it's made a major impact for change yet. I really don't. But for some people, it might. It really and truly might. I don't know. I know it hasn't made us change anything. I know we're still bringing the same soft drinks, the same liquor, the same this, the same that. We haven't cut back on the supplies that we bring to pool parties and entertaining with friends. So it hasn't changed. We haven't sold a vehicle, haven't sold property, haven't made any of those changes. Rick says, I'm still on track. Tim says, I know prices of airline tickets have risen significantly. Yeah, it has. So 2 months ago, I made reservation for my daughter for her annual summer trip here to the Philippines. I fly my daughter out during school break, summer break every year to spend time. Now, as of a month ago, that was 2 months ago. As of a month ago, or beginning of this month, when the conflict really hit, that same ticket is now $700 more. So, Michael Atos, I changed. Wait. Let me get Dardos first. I skipped over. I make plans to retire twice a week, but I can't win the Mega Millions. There you go. Don't we all wish we could win the Powerball, huh? That would be fun. I agree with you, Dardos. Michael, I changed my retirement plans moving to the Philippines, but I'm building commercial property and a motel for my wife's family. This way, they can have money in case the banking systems go down for transfer. And there you go. Making plans, changing some of your. So, Mike, are you saying that you no longer want to retire full time in the Philippines? A Ranger, Ernst, life must go on. Life's too short to sweat the small stuff. Have a great day. How you doing, Ernst? Very good to see you. Thanks for dropping in. James Gilbert dropped in. Thank you. When the commercial property rents out and making money, I'll move over as long as we can generate money in the Philippines. Wow, that's a challenge. That's a hell of a challenge, to be honest with you. There's, you know what? In my mind, that's a challenge. I say it's a challenge because it's something I've never done. And I don't understand it. And when I say I don't understand it, it means I just haven't looked at it. I never thought of trying to have a revenue generating business here in the Philippines. That was never a part of my retirement plan. It was never a part of my retirement thoughts, and it still isn't. Okay. Not there, not going to be there. So all in all, it looks like many people are not making big changes yet. I think what it boils down to is we're going to have to wait and see what happens. I think there's a lot more. This thing with Iran is far from over. Even if it came down to negotiating a settlement or a accord or whatever, implementing it, monitoring it, enforcing it, those are all different stories. I mean, Iran once had an agreement to allow, atomic energy engineers in to monitor them to make sure they were being in accordance with their agreement. And they never did it the right way. They never allowed it the right way. So, with that being said, the IRGC cannot be trusted. And it's going to come down to regime change. We're going to have to see the Iranian people replace, all right, Pahlavi needs to be brought back into Iran. He needs to be part of the transitionary government and needs to then bring them into a democratic society. Michael says, I got a corner lot on 2 National Highway across from a gas station in downtown. I got a bank looking to rent lower. Oh, nice. Nice, Michael. Great. Have you thought or have invested in PAG-IBIG MP2? Absolutely, Bobby. Absolutely. At 7% plus interest, tax-free. Arlene just loved it. All of our PAG-IBIG is all in Arlene's name. And yes, she is well invested in PAG-IBIG. And I think that PAG-IBIG is a tremendous program. I really and truly do. The guy who owned the world famous Nipa Hut in Angeles back in the 80s dreamed of opening a business there. He was wildly successful and they killed him because of it. I don't know who that was. You know, the 80s I didn't even start coming to the Philippines until, 12, something like that. So that all predates me. I couldn't give you any ideas about it. So I don't know. I really, truly don't. It's funny that Bobby's talking about PAG-IBIG. So few men who are involved in relationships and say they're planning for their partner's future and don't look at PAG-IBIG are just missing the boat. You can open a sorry store and you can rest assured that 5 more will open within 100 yards of you in 50 yards in each direction. You can do all of that. Somebody will always, these cheap ways out. But PAG-IBIG, the MP2, you can have, I think it's up to 5 accounts, and each account can have up to 5 million pesos in each account. And they do annual distributions, and you can roll that distribution into it. Or if you exceed the 5 million, you have to open a second account, and you can have up to 5 accounts. So, I mean, yeah. And the MP1 is not a bad deal either. Michael says, this is all in my wife's name and for retirement in the long run. My SS and retirement. But you know what, Michael? You're talking about something larger, bigger. And you apparently know more about it. And, you have a plan. It's just not something I'm familiar with. It really and truly isn't. Mike, any news on the fire at Baccara on Red Street? No, not really. But if you look, okay, let's look at something here. Okay. So the latest numbers, the March tourism numbers came out like 2 weeks ago. January, February, March, almost, it's last of April now. They were late getting the numbers out. if you look at the numbers, tourism is actually up year to date by 200,000 visits. Okay. Now, is tourism up in all the right places? No, it's not. All right. But, tourism spots are kind of like restaurants and bars. They come and go, except for when they get, like El Nido's going to be there because can't duplicate it. Boracay's going to be there, can't duplicate it. But here's what's interesting. If you look at those numbers, the Korean visits are way down. Way down. Maybe the Koreans, which Baccarat, the fire on Red Street, Korean owned to the best of my knowledge. I'm pretty sure it was Korean owned, or managed at least. Business hasn't been great. Maybe some of these guys are looking for, maybe it's what do they call it? Jewish lightning. All right. I had an uncle in Washington, D.C., who owned a restaurant. And this was back when I was a young kid. And it had a fire and was destroyed. There's always been speculation. So maybe, who knows? I don't know, Rick. I sincerely believe we could shut down 10% of the military bases overseas. 10% of the embassies begin to get handled on our gov spending. Government waste and fraud is through the roof. You know what, Paul? We could probably do a week of live streams, 3 hours a day on waste and fraud in government spending and scams. Somali daycare, the whole 9 yards. But you're right. As far as, I think what's going to be interesting, I want to see what's going to happen in the long term between the Philippines and the U.S. I think that the time is fast approaching that the U.S. is going to confront the Philippines and say, we want land and our own private base. Because keep in mind, the U.S. military does not have any private bases here in the Philippines any longer. They have land that's leased, that's inside a Filipino military base, but not their own base. And I think this is going to be a rude awakening for the Philippines to sit there and see, you know what? If America can embargo the Strait of Hormuz, what can the Chinese do with us? How much more friendly should we be? Because let's face it, you just can't move entire fleets all over the world. There's only so much you can do. Hayden says, with my company, we get good annual pay raises more than inflation. That's great. But what about retirement, Hayden? All right. With retirement, has it impacted? Have you made changes in plans? Joe Paul, if I remember correctly, when the Japanese started losing money and the funding back home started drying up, bad things started to happen. The Japanese owned bars and restaurants. Yeah, I don't know, Joe Paul. I can just tell you right now, tourism in Angeles, I think, is down. Growth in Angeles, I think, is up. They're just, one new hospital just opened, another private hospital, another new hospital is close to opening. You've got the light rail. It's going to be completed. It's on track. They're working day and night on that. You've got the international flights. You've got condos going up everywhere. All right. You've got construction all over the place. So I think business in Angeles is up, but as tourism, all right, and the impact on Wed Street, I think it's down. We don't. I'm so dry. Wish I had some water. We don't. We don't go to Red Street every night like everybody thinks. We don't even go to Red Street every other night, or we don't. But we definitely see busy and not busy. Tourism is down, but I like it. I enjoy it. I get better attention, better service, and the only thing that bothers me is when they open up a new restaurant. Like they just opened up a Din Tai Fung 2 months ago in SM Clark. Din Tai Fung is a dim sum restaurant. It's an international chain. One of my daughter's favorite places. They just opened one up in SM Clark. It's still a 45-minute wait from the time they open their doors to get a table. So I wish some of those people would go. But by the way, you're going to see 90% of the people that are waiting, Filipinos. 90% of them are Filipinos. Look at Trump kicking the $300 million cost to fix Lincoln reflecting pool, hired a local pool company for less than $1 million. You got to give Trump credit where credit's due. All right? He is very, very straightforward. Let me rephrase that. Is he straightforward? One of the best sayings, you can't take Trump literally. You have to take him figuratively. In other words, don't take him. Look, I'm just not an anti-Trumper. I am not. And that's really all it boils down to. I'm going to have around 500,000 US dollars. I may just max out PAGA Big MP2 and still have enough money to get set up, plus 80% VA. Wow, Bobby. You're going to be man, you'll be a high baller. Holy cow. Nice. Man, look, folks, if you need somebody, if you're kind of hurt, maybe Bobby will adopt a couple of you. Tim Desiak, there's a lot of construction and traffic. That is significant in the air quality. Yeah. The air quality right now is miserable. I'm not going to lie. We literally have to have our air conditioners cleaned, serviced every 3 months. Just because there's so much particulate matter in the air that it coats the coils. So, Tim, yeah, you're absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So, well, look, folks, we will be back. We're going to be doing our live streams Mondays and Saturdays. So, next Saturday, we'll have another live stream. Okay? Mondays and Saturdays. That's currently the time that we have available, 6 a.m. Philippines time, 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 5 p.m. I don't know. I have to take a look. So, Philly in the Philippines, good morning. Did you make it safely back, sir? Actually, I know you did. It was good to see you, Brian. I really enjoyed the time I spent with you and Lot. It was very nice to have you. It really and truly was. How did you, you know what, Brian? Do world events have any play into your thoughts about retire? Ask based in Korea are leased also. It's an embezzlement scam. It could be laundering money, whatever. Who knows? I got no idea. I have to use an airproof. Yeah, we have two of them. We have two very large, big, very good air purifiers. One dedicated just to the bedroom, one for the rest of the house. If you make 4,500 US dollars a month in the Philippines, you are in the 1% of the income earning. Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt, Michael. Thanks for another informative live stream. You know what? We enjoy it. I enjoy talking to you guys. I really and truly do. I thank you all for showing up. We're about an hour and a half into it. I think that's long enough. Please do go back, watch our videos. Give me a little love and help on this last video. Jeez, I don't think I've ever done a video that is responding as slow as this last one did. Mental health apparently does not matter to anybody. But if not, don't worry about it. It won't be the first or the last horrible video I've done. So, either ways, we wish you all the best. We wish you all a great day. We hope you have the best of everything. Otherwise, thanks and take care.